You're listening to the Sass Says podcast. I'm your host, Christy Rocha, also known as Sass. I identify as a woman, a wife, and a mother. That should tell you a lot already. And over the last few years, I've learned the value of talk therapy. I have seen how my inner work not only enhances my own well-being, but also my marriage, my parenting, my relationships. And in fact, you wouldn't be hearing this right now if it weren't for the work I've done. My mission is to debunk the misconceptions and stigmas around what therapy is and who it's for. Let's normalize working on our mental health and seeking help when needed. We've all heard of self-care, self-help, and self-love, but do you often wonder how to actually make it all happen? I do. You'll hear strategy-based conversations with professionals, as well as inspiring and validating stories from women who are just like you and me. Think of this podcast as the weekly therapy sessions you didn't know you needed, with a dash of sass, a lot of vulnerability, and me, relentlessly asking, but how? Hello, welcome back. I've got Claire Jefford on the show today. We are talking all about video content. If you're a business owner, you know that creating digital content really is just at a point now in 2023 where it comes with the territory. Claire is a Toronto-based interior designer who began her award-winning firm in 2011, which is the same year she started making video content. She credits this early effort to much of her success. She has done design videos, car karaoke, paint color reviews, and more, but the thing that all of her videos have in common is that her personality shines through. It's helped her create real connections with her audience and clients, allowing them to get to know her before they ever even meet her in person. Claire is also a business coach, helping interior designers with her courses and online resources. She runs a highly engaged private Facebook group called Interior Design Business Strategies with over 6,000 design professionals from around the world. You can find her videos there and on Instagram and YouTube, where she is at Claire Jefford. Claire has been on a well-designed business, my mom's show, several times. Don't worry, those episodes are all linked in the show notes. And a couple of those interviews are specifically about the value of video content. So be sure to continue listening to those if this is an area of the world that interests you. And you know, I can't help but talk about the fact that Claire will be at Luann Live in Orlando this November 5th through 8th with me. I am co-moderating this event, and as of this recording, tickets are going fast. So check out Claire's video after you listen here, get to know her online, and then come meet her in person in just a few weeks in Orlando. In the meantime, let's meet Claire. Hey, Claire. So nice to see you. Thanks for being here with me today. How are you?
I'm good, Christy. Thanks for having me on your podcast. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to catch up. Today, we're going to be talking all about video. I know you have so many areas of expertise that you offer your design clients and just for yourself, but this is the one that speaks most to what I'm doing these days and what content creators are all about. Like, video is the jam. So, but you've been doing video content for a long time. Like, tell me a little bit about how and why you got into creating video content and what you got out of doing it.
So I started actually when I opened my doors in 2011. I actually shortly after created a video with a friend of mine who was, really prominent in like he loved social media as well and video and different content creation. So he helped me, and we put out this video about like the benefits of hiring a decorator. And we put it it took a long time. I will not lie. It took a very I say a long time. It took us like 4 hours to do this
Yeah.
video that was like literally 60 seconds, right?
Right.
And this is before reels, this is before filters, this is
Mm-hmm.
before the advance. I mean, we're talking like 2011, so we're going back like many years here. And I enjoyed it. First of all, I had a script. I was trying to memorize the script. I didn't have a teleprompter, which is important to have now, but for
Mm-hmm.
certain videos. And it was just really important for me to get this video out to explain what were the benefits of hiring my services, and how can I help people? I'm not just picking your paint. I'm not just fluffing a pillow, so what is it that we do? And that video lived on my website. Um, Actually, it might have been on YouTube, and then maybe we linked to it to YouTube. I don't know if at the time I had it embedded on the website, but it was really a helpful video to continue to direct people to when I would get inquiries. And so what happened was I just sort of kept doing different videos. I started the first one I did on YouTube was a series of a 3,000 square foot basement that I had designed for clients. And it was honestly out of this world. I mean, it had a movie theater, it had a secret Xbox room that you access by a door case that had a secret door. It had a sauna. Like there wasn't really anything this basement didn't have. And so I started videoing it. And if you go back, if anyone goes back and watch those videos on my Claire Jefford Consulting YouTube channel,
Mm,
they're pretty terrible quality. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I was starting from somewhere. We were using, I think we did have a DSLR at the time, which was a proper camera, but um, the phones have come such a long way now. But for me and for the video, really going back to your question with my business, what I found was that, and I was doing YouTube karaoke was the first thing I started in my car, driving in traffic. I'd post it, people resonated, they laughed, they commented, engaged. And what I really found though, Christy, was that I would show up to people's houses and they felt like they already knew me.
Mm,
The connection that you can get via a video versus an email or a blog article. I've always talked about this. It is huge,
mhm,
that sort of connection that you can make with people.
mhm, mhm. And I think that's a lot easier to see and understand now in 2023 than it probably would have been in 2011 because now, I mean, we feel connected to Britney Spears because she's dancing in her living room. Like, I think it's understandable and people get it, right? But now it's almost um it's almost like I could see, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I could see how in 2011 it might have been an overwhelming undertaking because it was new, because it was different, because there weren't all of these tools. And
Hmm.
now you have 2023 where there's so many tools, so many avenues, so many platforms. Like you said
Yes.
something that I jotted down, starting from somewhere. Like I feel like that's the hardest thing is just like ripping the band-aid and starting. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, how do we get over this? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it fear? Like, what is it about putting ourselves on camera that feels like this Band-Aid
It's
that we have to rip?
I would say vulnerability. Like you are putting yourself out there, you are showing yourself to the world. Not It's not going to be perfect, likely, especially when you're just starting. If I look back at some of my earlier videos, they are, not good quality. And it's sort of hard sometimes because you get people making comments and you think, "Oh, that's not very nice," whether it's about my physical appearance, my hair, something I'm wearing, whether it's the content that I'm sharing, and especially over on TikTok, like, they are the haters gonna hate on TikTok, and you really just got to, you know, you've got to have thick skin and you've got to not worry about what other people think. And this is something that Gary V, New Jersey boy, taught me many years ago when I saw him speak here in Toronto the year I started my business. And he was always about like, don't give an shit of what people think about you. Like you, do what makes you happy. Money can come later, but it's not the most important thing. And, I feel like that's been with me the whole time, Christy, like the whole time through my career. I follow him still. I feel very privileged to have met him and we're the same age and even just to even sort of having felt that sort of similar mantra myself. And now before I start any sort of presentation, whether I'm speaking in person or at an event, my whole thing is like there's more than one path to the top of the mountain and you do you,
Mm.
right? Because we all have different goals. You and I were just talking off air, like my kids are older, your kids are younger, like we're all at different places in our lives. And so, no, we're not going to please everybody. We're not going to be for everybody, and we shouldn't try to be for
Mhm.
everybody. You sort of do your own thing and you're going to resonate with your people, right? And then some people might watch the video and go, "Oh, this isn't interesting to me," or I don't like this person for whatever reason. We don't have to like everybody.
Right.
So I think it's the vulnerability that a lot of people are hesitant about, which is totally understandable, you know. But at some point, you know, it doesn't have to be video necessarily, but video, you know, and not everyone is good on video. Let's be honest. I mean,
Mhm.
it's the truth, right? And it's not for everyone. That's why some people write. That's what blogs. That's why some people do podcasts. That's why, you know, some people do different things, right? Because we're not all meant to be great at everything and or love everything. I just happen to really love doing video. And as I said, once I realized how I could connect with my audience and then the engagement, I mean, you know, now we're seeing video everywhere, right?
Mhm.
But years ago, like it was, you know, it was something that people were taking a while to sort of warm to and hop on the train. But now you actually have no choice. Like you
Yeah.
almost have no choice with the way that Instagram and all of these platforms are pushing through the algorithm. They are push video is king or queen, however you want to call it.
Mhm.
Um, so it's almost like if you want to have an online business, there needs to be some form of video, whether you're in it or not. Now that could be another discussion.
Mhm. Yeah, there's no choice. I mean, I know if I post anything static on particularly Instagram, like it does nothing. It does
Yeah.
nothing. And and I think you're right. It's just I think what I was thinking about as you were talking is like it's there's something about when I'm creating video, I'm usually alone in a room with a ring light and a camera or my phone,
Mhm.
and it feels so isolating and so like I can't even tell you the amount of times I've like recorded something and been like, does anybody care about this? Like, is this the dumbest
Yeah,
thing ever? And then you have to I shouldn't say you, I should say I have to remind myself that I am one person. And when I put this out there, there's gonna be thousands, hundreds of thousands. Like the possibilities are endless. So it's like, I guess what I'm saying is it it feels really isolating, but it's when you're putting it out there, it's like if you're thinking it and feeling it and experiencing
mhm.
it, there's this very high chance that a lot of other people are too, whatever it is, because we can't
Yes,
even fathom how many people are on the internet. Like we can't even picture
100%.
that amount of
Yeah,
people. It's like you just have to like
yeah,
trust in the internet world. I don't know.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's hard to trust it, but yes. And so the thing I would say the thing with that is, and what helps me get over it is, one, you have to look at that camera like you're talking to one person. Who is the one, like for design, like who's your ideal client? If I'm talking about, you know, thing about how I'm going to service you or how I'm going to service a client, I'm not. I try, you know, I don't know that I do, but I'm trying to think of that one person. Like who's
Mhm.
my one person that I'm talking to? Um, and it makes it a little bit easier. I think, you know, and as you said, Christy, like if you're thinking it, if you think that, you know, oh, this is something that maybe I should address or that I should share, it's probably going to be of interest to other people. It's not just you that probably has this thought. However, this is where you test things out. Like
Right.
there have been times when I've posted something and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna hit like, you know, a few, you know, people that are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," you know, yeah, sort of thing. I've hit on something here, and I put it out, and I'm like, "Oh, I got 2 comments."
Yeah.
3 people saved it, and then you're like, "Wah, wah."
I know.
But you just have to keep going, and then you put out something that you're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do this quick." And I've done this so many times.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this quick. I'm just gonna put something out. I've got something on my mind that's just happened in my business. I feel I want to share it. I put it out. Oh my gosh, I go back like, you know, 2 hours later and there's like 25 comments and I'm like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh my God, I totally feel the same way," or "This really resonated with me." And you're like, "Oh my gosh." So you can't really plan either, which is why you just need to try to put out
Mm.
your content that you feel is going to be of value to people that you're trying to connect with. And it's going to hit with some and others it's going to be a miss. And you just can't predict. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that silly thing. What was it? It was there was an egg. Do you ever see that egg on Instagram? There was
Uh,
a
I don't
God, there
think
was a
so.
name of it. Every time you refresh the page of this egg, I'm telling you, this thing got like billions of likes. and it was
I have
an
no
egg.
idea. I have no idea.
Oh, you have to look it up. I can't
I'll have
remember
to
what it
look
is,
it
but it
up.
was the most ridiculous thing ever. And who would have thought, right?
I
So
know.
you just don't know.
I know. I as you were talking, I was thinking of the corn kid on TikTok. You remember this over like a couple months ago? It was like this little kid singing about corn, and he like got sponsorships from like corn
Right?
companies and stuff, and he was just like, "I love corn." He was just singing about it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
like,
that is also an incredible, great point to bring up is that like when I started video with a plan for my design clients, right?
mm,
To put myself out there and to share how I could help. And then I started doing paint color videos. I did these color reviews on Benjamin Moore paint colors. And holy jamoli, that hit like even now, like one of my highest ones is like best gray paint colors, and it has over about 300,000 views. That was 7 years ago, seven
mm,
years ago. And then I did like another video on like a one paint color, and that got a ton of views. And I was like, okay, I'm onto something here.
yeah,
Um, and so that was one aspect, but I want to just that's somewhere we could go talking about monetization that came later on that I did not anticipate. But in terms of you're talking about like this corn kid, like, you know, you don't know what opportunities will come. And so I started doing so much video in my private Facebook group for interior designers, on Facebook itself. As I said, a lot of it was silly karaoke. I was in my car and bored. Um, and then I was asked to, join this blog tour. 2017 was the first blog tour I ever did with Design Hounds and Veronica
mm,
Eagleson. And she's the next, and I was doing so much video at that time. Honestly, Christy, no one was doing video. I was the only one. I know people were looking at me thinking, who does she think she is? And again, you're putting yourself out there, and I'm just going
right.
with it, going, damn it, I'm here. I want to do my best for Veronica and this tour and these sponsors and these brands. And next year I got invited back. And now me and Veronica have a beautiful relationship. I've been to LA, I've been to KBIS in Orlando, KBIS in, Las Vegas. My God, I've been to Napa twice.
Mhm.
Like these opportunities that came because I was so prominent in video and speaking my truth and putting myself out there that I never anticipated this to come. I never thought in a million years when I started my interior design business, I would be traveling all over North America, speaking, covering social media for different events, San Francisco, you know,
Yeah, it's cool.
but
Yeah,
you put yourself out there, you become a little vulnerable, you resonate with some people, things can happen.
yeah,
Things do happen.
yeah. It reminds me of a conversation I was having with someone yesterday. She creates content, she has a podcast and things, and she was talking about how well, it's like feels so cringy and icky to be putting herself out there, especially since her audience is relatively small right now, and it is mostly people that know her.
Just
And
where it usually starts. Yep.
yep, and it reminded me again of this. I can't remember who it was, but they were basically like, if they were kind of saying, if you don't feel cringy at first, then something like it may not be like something must be wrong because it's like, so like everybody feels a little cringy at
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
and you just have to get through it. Like, how what do you say to yourself? What do you do? Like at this point, it seems like you're probably very comfortable, but like back during that first time with Veronica and people were kind of like looking at you like, who does she think she is? Like, what did you say to yourself? What did you do to just like keep going?
Honestly, I had Gary V in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Don't give an SHIT of what anyone cares about.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to sound rude. I don't mean it
No,
to
I know.
sound like
Yeah.
I'm unapathetic or
No,
empathetic,
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I'm saying it like in the large scheme of things, it doesn't really matter what people think of you. Like if
I
I
know.
was to be told I had 1 week to live, who would I surround myself with? Would I be on the internet? Would I be on, no, I
Yeah.
would be with my husband, my kids, my friends. Like those are the people that matter to me, right?
Right.
Um, so I just sort of go back to the whole, and it's easier said than done. I get it. Like I get it. But
Mhm.
I just really think in the whole scheme of things, sometimes I say to myself, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, so I get a bad comment. Okay, someone gives me a thumbs down.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but I get a client.
Right.
who's investing $25,000 in my services. Wow. Screw the other people that didn't like my bangs in that
Right.
video,
Right.
right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Like, it's really just realizing that it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
right? And that you're never going to please everyone. And here's something I just remembered is that one thing Gary Vee says that I've always loved is that if someone takes a minute to scroll, if someone is scrolling through their feed and they see something of or they're watching your video and they decide, "Oh, I don't like something in Christie's video, and I'm gonna comment on it and say, well, this was a waste of time." You almost have more empathy for that person
Mhm.
because I don't take time. If I see something, and we all see stuff, okay? Let's be honest. We all see stuff every now and again and go, "Oh," like
Yeah.
maybe I see someone posting it, "Oh, here's a design before and after," and I'm like, "Is that really the after?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound rude. I'm just saying
Yeah.
sometimes
No, we
I
all
didn't know
see
that was the
things. Yeah.
after. Doesn't
Right.
look so good. Whatever. I don't stop and go, wow, this is a terrible transformation, and I don't know why your client paid you for this, or
Right.
whatever. That's not something I would say anyway. But, if someone takes the time to be mean, what is it? That says more about that person. And so he's always saying, like, have empathy for that person. I feel bad for that person who felt they had to take time out of their day to watch something that you tried to create that was helpful, and they had to comment to try to bring you down.
Yeah.
That shows you that they're in a bad place. And so I think if you think about it that way, it's like the bully in the school ground, right?
Mm.
Most bullies are bullies because they're having problems,
Something's going on.
right?
Yeah.
It makes
Right.
them feel better to beat someone else up.
Right.
And so, so if you sort of look at it from that perspective, I think it makes it a little bit easier. You're just like, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. If people don't like it, they don't like it. And if they take time to say they don't like it, that's their problem and not mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So my issue is more that I don't care as much as what other people are thinking. My issue is more like I am my hardest critic. And
Yeah.
so, like, I had about 2 years ago now, I can't believe it's been 2 years. One of the first videos I put on TikTok, like, did well. I think it was like 100,000 views and, whatever else. And I was all into it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the rest of the videos after like don't do as well. I start getting in my head like am I not doing it right? Am I not interesting? Am I not this? And then that kind of spiraled into just personally, I gained weight and I didn't like seeing myself on camera.
Hmm.
And I got really self-conscious, the combination of the views going down and
Yeah.
my own personal feeling on my body. It was like I stopped. I stopped. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
stopped making the video and I find it harder to manage, like, I don't go on and comment on my own videos, but I'm commenting on them in my head, and I find that harder to push past, and, I still haven't gotten back in it because
Yeah.
I have a
Well,
hard
we're
time, like, seeing myself on camera.
Yeah, and we're our worst
Yeah.
critics, right? Like we're always criticizing ourselves.
Mhm.
Like I will say, that I've struggled. I'm 5 foot nothing, right? And so I gained 10 pounds and I know, I gained 10 pounds. It's not going anywhere. And so we talked about this a little bit off air. Like I am the heaviest I've ever been. And there's it's just me being lazy, to be honest. I mean, I have time, I can make time in my business. And sometimes it does, I will tell you, like I still have to push, I still manage to push past it, but I do see
Mhm.
myself sometimes and go, oh gosh, I need to lift my head up higher so the double chin isn't there, or ooh, I
Mhm.
won't wear that outfit next time, or, you know, um, but here's the thing too, and and you probably have found this, Christy, with your podcast, and the more sort of vulnerable you are, though, when you put yourself out there,
Yeah.
that's when people really resonate with you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
that's when because you're being personable. You're putting your heart on your sleeve. And and so sometimes even just acknowledging some of that or having a conversation with someone like we are even now, people can go, "Oh yeah, okay." Because I am confident and I love what I do, and I know I go out there and I'm like your mom, right? I'm like Luann. I'm very outgoing, and it doesn't mean that I'm perfect. It's when I do open up to some people, I remember Nicole Heimer at one point. I told her I was crying about something, and she said, "You cry? Claire Jefford cries?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do sometimes, right? But I just don't show that, And then sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I should get a little more personal in my stuff. Like again, it's the balance, right? Like some people say, well, what should I be posting on Instagram? Like, what are the things I should post? Do I post my personal with my family sometimes? Do I post just design or whatever your profession is?
Hmm.
And I think it is a balance. I think that the stories are great. And I would say, what you were saying there, Christy, about sort of being not want being um hesitant to go back into it. Start with stories. Stories is sort of like,
The
the back
gateway.
end. Yeah, like the easy way to ease in, right?
Yeah.
And people don't expect stories to be
Right.
perfect. Not that anything should have to be perfect, but they expect
They don't
less
expect
from
as much
stories.
production value, right? Like, yeah.
No, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I think we only put the production value on ourselves too, because again, a lot of times you watch some people's video, the content is fabulous, and maybe I mean you need the sound to be good. I mean, there's certain things that yes, you do need, but it may not be the best quality. But if your content is good, people will stick around as long as they
Yeah.
can, as long as they say, as long as they can hear it. But yeah, I would start with the stories. That's what I suggest to everyone who's sort of a little intimidated about video. Start with the stories. We have filters. I mean, filters, filters, filters. Well, like if I'm, and I don't, I wash my hair 2 days a week. I try to look nice some other days, especially when I'm meeting clients. But sometimes when I'm working in my office, I am like comfy pants. Or
Hmm.
maybe I'll throw on a nice shirt, and if I couldn't be bothered to do my hair and makeup, oh my gosh, so many filters on
I know.
Instagram,
Yeah.
that make
Yeah.
you really look really good. I would just say just be careful, like, you don't wanna look so fake that, like, when you
Right.
finally meet someone in real life, they're like, "Whoa."
Right.
You don't want that disconnect either, right?
Catfish them. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But starting with stories is good, and those short videos are good, and then just seeing what resonates, with your audience, and you do have to put yourself out there a little bit, and like I said, when you're sort of vulnerable and you say different things, people come to you. I don't know about you, but like there's certain times when I have done that every now and again, and I'll get a DM from someone. Oh, I struggled with that too, but I didn't want to comment on your post,
Hmm.
because they were embarrassed,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting what happens when you do show a bit of vulnerability.
Yeah. I think, as you're talking, I'm actually, even though I have had such respect for digital creators, forever. Like I'm making my whole platform for them and for us, right? I think as you're talking, I'm really realizing how when you think about the creators who are showing up that vulnerable every video, every day, that's a lot of work. Like that it
Mm-hmm.
really is. Like I'm thinking about it now, the couple of videos like that have done well or the couple of episodes on the podcast that have done well, it's because I've been vulnerable. It's like those they felt like gold moments. And I'm thinking
Mm.
about these creators that are making like these gold moments like what feels like as a consumer every day. Maybe it's once a week, right? If we
Right,
really
right,
look
right.
at it, maybe it's once a
Yeah.
week, but as a consumer, it feels like I'm getting this like behind the scenes look every day and it's really hitting me now how much work that is. Like how intense that is to just be out there every day with your stuff. Like it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I mean, in general, and you know this too, I mean, talking about like, the content creation and creating digital products and that sort of thing, if that's where, you know, people here are looking to take their business, like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like there are so many moving parts. I mean, right now we have my Interior Design Boss Academy. I'm sure by the time this launches, it will be already in session and on the wait list. But I mean, the emails you have to send, the posts you have to do, the graphics that we're creating,
Yeah.
it really is different to and I'll just say because I do design and decorating, like it's different to what I do in design and decorating. You do have to market yourself, but anyone getting into this side of the business, um, just know like it's hard work too. It's
Yeah.
nothing's easy. Nothing's easy, whether it's
Right.
losing weight, coming through therapy, going on video,
Right.
right? Starting a
Right.
design business, like nothing is easy. And I think as long as you're just sort of invested in trying and doing your best, you just got to keep persevering and keep putting yourself out there. But
Yeah.
it is a lot of work. And like I said, I think, just to share with like your listeners now, like don't get so over caught up in the tech side of it because honestly, with our phones now,
Yeah.
there really is no reason not to be doing video. Like
Yeah.
the phone quality is amazing. I personally use an Android. I have my Samsung S Note 20, which I love, and I will tell you, it's one of the best. Even my kids who only have Apples, they're like, "Mom, your phone is the best, but don't tell anyone I told you." Like your camera. I'm like, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Even if you have an older phone, it doesn't matter. Like right now, I'm here, I'm in my kitchen. I don't have any light on me except for the natural light coming through the window. If you
Right.
stand near a window, you want to stand in front of the window. Don't let the window be behind you. That's going to eat up all of your light, right?
Okay.
Um, and even with the microphone, like you could have, your what are they called? iBuds? What are they called? Earbud, what
Oh
are they
yeah,
called?
yeah.
Whatever the kids have in their ears, right? I don't even know, whatever they're called.
Right.
They're gonna laugh at me if they listen to this. But even a lot of times I don't have that on me. I will literally be holding my phone. I'll be maybe just a couple of feet from it. Sometimes I have a little stand that I use. But don't overthink the tech because it's so good nowadays. The
Yeah.
quality is so good. Um, what I will say, just sharing a little bit on that, is I have found a teleprompter to be super helpful. But listen, only for when I do videos for my Boss Academy, when I do a promotional video, or when
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a video like that one now, if I had had one years ago when I did like
Mm-hmm.
the benefits of hiring a decorator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that one took me so many goes, but I had my assistant here with me. We wrote a script ahead of time. She brought up it's I don't know what it's called exactly, but if you Google teleprompter sorry, you can have it right on your phone.
Mm.
You upload the script. You can work how fast the speed goes, right?
Oh
How
wow.
big the letters are, right? So some of us are getting older. We need the letters to be bigger and the
That's
scroll
cool. Yeah.
to be slower. Oh my God, it's a game changer. I was filming videos like in one go, like,
Wow.
but again, that's for more tailored videos.
Right.
When I'm doing something quick or even a lot of the reels that I do, I don't use that because then it's an extra step for you to now make an excuse not to do it. Oh, I got to
Yeah.
get the teleprompter.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to write a script,
Yeah.
right? So you don't
Yep.
need it all the time. But if you are a content creator and you are looking at doing like a really good promo video for your product on your website, yeah, this would be great because you can sail through it nicely, you have good flow without stumbling over your words and a lot of ums and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Any other any other little resources like that that aren't talked about a lot or that you work with that you really like?
Yeah, so I also use InShot a lot. It's an app. It's INSHOT, and it's like I don't even know if it's $20 a year or $8 a month. Like it's a really good app. We use that for the bulk of our reel creation now that we do the reels and the
Okay.
TikToks. So you can upload videos, you can upload images, you can upload images while you're on your video talking. It's called a pip. You could change the size. You can the only thing it doesn't do is captions, but now you got Instagram, you put it through Instagram and you can add captions.
Yeah.
You could do it through a story and then you could download it. I don't know if at this point they have captions in the reels
I think
themselves
they
or
do.
not. Yeah, maybe they
I
do
think they
now.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have so many tools that can help us, but InShot is definitely and it's easy. Honestly, it's and people think Claire's so techy. I'm honestly not. Like I'm really not that techy. I didn't even know what those earbuds were called that the kids wear. They're
AirPods. I
Apple, right?
remembered it.
AirPods, they're
AirPods.
there.
Yeah. So
Right?
it took me a minute.
Right?
What the heck?
So you just play with it for a little bit and it's great. You can crop it, you can trim, you can voice over stuff.
Mhm.
If you do want some help, I mean, I had my assistant Catherine, we just filmed a video with a voiceover for a brand that I'm working with, and gosh, she's 22 and she's so fast on that thing.
I
So
know.
she'll film it and then she'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, no, delete that. Oh, boop, boop. And I'm like, oh, geez, I'm not
Yeah,
that fast. Like she's
yeah.
fast, but these kids grew up on it,
I
right?
know. I know. I'm
So
like I'm my millennial is showing all of a sudden. It's like,
yeah,
okay, things have progressed faster than I cared to
so
keep up
fast.
with them. It was funny. I just interviewed Sandra Funk last week, and she was saying how she always keeps someone what she calls young in tech on her team because it's just
Yeah,
different. It just hits
it
different. They're
is.
faster. They know what's going on. Something that takes me the video that I mentioned, the TikTok that I mentioned that like did
Yeah,
well 2 years ago. It's
yeah.
a 15-second video. It took me 2 hours.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
stop it. Like,
A
that is
hundred
out of
percent.
control. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've gotten better and faster, but then they change the apps. Then they
Oh, yeah.
change
Oh,
how
everything
you
starts
do
to
the stuff.
change.
And it's different Instagram to real to TikTok. Like, oh,
Oh,
oh
so
my God.
frustrating.
So
Yeah, they
that's
don't
interesting.
download the music.
I
Yeah.
know. So InShot is interesting to me because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what you make in there, you can then post to Reels, to TikTok. Like, it's not like if I
Yes.
make a video on TikTok, then I'm dealing with like the watermark on Instagram. They don't like the watermark. It's like a lot of
Of course. Yeah.
drama.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. The only thing sometimes is the music. You just got to watch because on Instagram, when I upload a video, if I use their music and then if I want to download it to use that music, a lot of times it says like it won't, you can't,
Yeah,
it'll
yeah,
download
yeah.
without the audio, right?
Okay, okay,
So, but in InShot, you can also upload music into InShot too. I just don't really do that very often. I usually just
okay.
grab some, and then I usually just go to TikTok and grab it. You can just search the same song in TikTok.
Right,
They're all there,
right,
right?
right, right, you're right.
Um,
It's I like
yeah,
it
it's all
smart.
there. And
Okay.
InShot, you can also it gives you different sizing. So you
Mm,
could take a video that is a horizontal because I used to do everything in horizontal because I was doing YouTube, but now
right.
everything's friggin' vertical,
I know.
right?
Yeah,
But you can still take a horizontal, you can make it a vertical. You'll have, stuff on either side, but if you want to just get the content out there, it's a way of repurposing, and then you can add captions to the top or bottom or a title and
right,
sort of thing. But
right.
yeah,
Okay.
it can be a lot of work to do one video. And then sometimes, Chrissy, I'll tell you, I did a video. My son was filming a bunch of stuff when we did our kitchen initially, and I was working with a brand, and I was just opening up cupboards to show the organization within them. And one day I was sitting in the backyard and I was like, oh God, I need to get a few TikToks out. It's been a while, or Reels. It's been a while. And so I went back through my feed and I found this video where he's pulling out the oil pull that we have here, right? And I added some music to it. I put it up like 17,000, 20,000 views. And I'm like,
Yes, it did. Of course.
it was so easy. Like it
Yeah,
literally took me 2 minutes to do it because I just
yeah,
went through my feed, found a good song, found the video, a bit
yeah,
of a caption in. It was like less than 10 minutes. And I was like, so you never know.
yeah,
You never know.
yeah,
I could
yeah.
post that again today and it would get 2,000 views maybe. Like you
Right.
just don't know what's going to hit sometimes. That's why you can't beat yourself up.
Yeah,
I think I would say like if you keep noticing that no one's engaging with your content, like nobody,
right.
then you might have to revisit A, are you suited for video? B, is your content helping people?
Hmm.
Like, there does go we all have to review
Right.
what we're doing at some point, right?
Yeah.
And see, okay, maybe this isn't working, and why may it not be working? And you can ask family, you can ask friends, like, don't listen necessarily if there's those haters on the
Yeah.
talk or whatever, but it is important to realize that video is not for everybody. And that sort of can lead nicely now into I do think that you should do some videos with you in them, even if you're not talking. You could
Hmm.
just show yourself, doing your podcast, and maybe you're videoing you talking to me right now,
Hmm.
and over, have a voiceover that shows you, writing down some notes and getting prepared for the podcast. And you talk about, and then you have clips from people in your podcast talking over it, and then you got
Right.
your music coming in. Like, it doesn't have to be you all the time. I'm
Right.
just saying that with you that's when people are going to be able to connect when
Yeah.
it's you.
Yeah. 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 And we also don't have to do every like dancing trend and like all the things, right?
No,
Like we're gonna just stay
no.
in our
And in fact,
lanes.
yeah, and in fact, like I am working with a media company right now, social media, and they are younger, and they did throw me in a couple videos where I'm like pointing to stuff, and I'm like, it's really not my jam. I'm like, okay, I want to trust the process. I've hired
Yeah.
experts to do it. They're young, hip,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to try this, but to me, it feels like where's the value? I'm
Yeah.
just standing and dancing and pointing. Like, so I would say be
Yeah.
careful of those ones too. Like,
Yeah.
they're really not
The
that
first
helpful.
the first time I did, like, a pointing video, I literally, like, in the video, I was like, "I swore I would never do this." And here
Right.
we are,
I
pointing
know.
at things on the screen that aren't here yet, and I
Here,
felt like an
gotta put them in. Yeah.
yeah, I know.
I know, because again, but at least you tried it, right? Like,
Yeah.
so even though it feels crazy, you just maybe try things. But if it's really out of your comfort zone, like I totally get it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, Claire, is there any final like word of wisdom or any piece of advice or any resource final things you want to leave people with before we wrap today? Anything you wish I would have asked you? Anything like that?
Um, just say in general, just going back to like first, well, I would say when you're putting out content creation, like have a bit of a plan. It doesn't have to be
Mm,
like major strategy session that you're spending a week, figuring out. But, if you need to have some sort of like, what is the value? Who are you speaking to? Do I have a call to action, a CTAA on this?
mhm,
Um, and I would also say that, just let things happen a little naturally because now I started those color videos years ago, and then I really leaned into the blog and videos, and I hired a videographer a few years ago, and she helped me film some. And at the time, I was like, okay, I do color consultations, and I have these color palettes that I sell for like, $20 sort of thing, digital downloads. Um, and honestly, it's been for me. I like sort of testing things, and now, like, I can honestly tell you that that is passive income for me now. Like, I
mhm,
wanna get back to those blogs and talking more about color, but I'm busy with a lot of other things.
right.
But that is generating, anywhere from 30 to $35,000 Canadian for me
Wow.
per year.
Wow.
And I'm
Awesome.
literally I'm not promoting them, I'm not doing blogs. So again, the possibilities and doing something, I started it because I thought it was fun. Like, so again,
Yeah.
I would say this, don't, you asked me, there's a few things, but don't just go after the money. Don't go after what you think, "Oh,
Mm,
okay, I see so and so doing that and it's good. I don't really know color, but Claire's killing it with a color, so I'm going to do color."
yeah.
It's going to come through. Like people, especially on video,
Oh, yeah.
your authenticity is going to come through if you're trying to BS people or if you're just doing something for the money.
Yeah.
People can really hone in on that. And so just let things progress, and then you see, like I did with the color, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do like friggin' 50 color palettes. People like this. I like it. Then you know what, Christy? I got a little bored of it. So I haven't been doing it so much, but now I'm sort of missing it again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's
you
trial and
know,
error. It's just try
that's
it.
all it is.
And I
Try
think,
it,
yeah.
be true to yourself, and bring value to people. Don't overthink it, and then look at the results. Look at what's happening, and then regroup and see. But just keep doing what you love, and try not to worry about what people think, because in the big scheme of things, they don't matter,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Boom. All
Mic drop.
right. Yes, exactly. So, all right, Claire, thank you. This is a nice little pep talk for me as I dabble. I've been starting to write some ideas down again, and I know it's coming, and I know I'm gonna get back into it. So I really needed this. Thank you so much for being
Yes, of
here.
course. Well, reach out anytime. I'm gonna be waiting. I'm gonna see you at Luann Live. I'm gonna see, what have you got
Uh-huh.
on your Instagram? No
Oh,
pressure. No, no pressure.
I need the pressure.
Okay, okay. Do it.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
All right, Claire, thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me. Thank you so much. It's been great, Chrissy. I'll see you soon.
All right. Many of my shows turn into a good pep talk for me. This is one of them. Obviously, it helps so much to hear from someone who has been there, who's been doing this a long time. And it's such a great reminder that no matter what kind of video you want to create, that it opens the door to a lot of opportunities. Putting yourself out there, creating video, whether it's scripted or on the fly, it does. It's the way of the world. We got to make video. And one of the things that I really took from this is is really leaning into Claire's relatability and talking about how important this is, that it's only when she lets go a little and allows herself to be vulnerable that she really makes those audience connections that matter. And when I say that matter, you can define what that means for you. Does that mean a conversion to a client? Does that mean making a friend? Does that mean just connecting with someone? You can define that for you. I recently had Jude Charles on the show, and we also talked about how opening ourselves up and being more vulnerable with our audience can be so impactful. Jude's episode is linked in the show notes and has a lot of great info on content creation, mental health, and burnout. And like Claire, Jude said that vulnerability is what makes us relatable. If you create content, you might feel like you're doing it in a vacuum. I totally get it, but when I said that we can not fathom how many people are on the internet, I really meant it. It's an amount that you can't even wrap your head around. And because of this, by sheer volume, it is inevitable that someone somewhere is going to see you and get you. I've had this happen here and there, proving that if you push through, what you say will resonate with someone. Even if it's just one person, it does matter and it does make for a meaningful connection. And Claire actually offered a great tip to this feeling. Look into the camera like you are looking into the eyes of your ideal client or consumer or follower or friend. Imagine who this is first and get to know them, and then talk as if you're talking to them. Even if you're standing in a room by yourself making a video, do this, and she swears by it. It really does make it easier. But whatever you do and whatever content you create, listen to Claire's advice and just make it true for you. Don't try to be something you are not. Allow things to progress naturally and allow your true self to shine through. And in the long run, that's going to be where you find your sweet spot. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me from this conversation. I also think it's easier said than done. So I see you. I feel your pain. But I think if we can do it, like I just said a minute ago, and like Claire said throughout the episode, that's the sweet spot. That's the gold. All right. I mentioned earlier that Claire is going to be at Luann Live with me in just a few weeks. As a reminder, this event is November 5th through 8th in Orlando. We're talking all about health and wealth. I hope you can be there with us. We still have tickets left. They are going fast, and this is going to be so, so good. When it comes to interior design or content creation or just business in life, your mental and physical health, I mean, they're the most important thing. So putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, like we discussed for the duration of today's episode, I know can be a challenge and it can bring up some pretty big mental health struggles. So come join us in Orlando and learn about how to carry these things and move forward at the same time, personally and professionally. I'm so excited about it. I hope to see you there. If you're coming, please let me know. I would love to meet in person. But for now, that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Claire, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Sass Says is a production of Luann Nigara, Inc. This podcast is meant to be educational and not meant to replace professional therapy or professional medical attention. To learn more about today's show and what's new in my world, head over to sasssays.com. Thanks so much. Talk later.